Peace. Mic check. Um, Peace, nice son. All is well. All is well. How about you? Um, can you hear me? Peace, peace. Prince Nakeem in the house. Peace. Okay, bet you can hear me. Lady Owl, peace, peace. So, okay, let's get right on into it. So, this morning, I get up and I see on my phone all these captions of Will Smith got his hand cocked back and slapping Chris Smith. Chris, what's my man's name? Chris Rock. And this was, I guess, it was the Oscars last night. So I said, "Oh, that's interesting." And then, so of course, I'm being like everybody else in Malkuth this morning. I said, I'm not gonna take the high road. I'm gonna talk about it. Give my two pence, 2 pence, 2 cents. You know. And so, from my perspective, I typically like to look at the word play, the word game. Um, and so it's interesting you got these two characters. One is named Will for William, and the other one is named Chris. Very interesting. Now, sidebar, the name William means that was my uncle's name before he became a Muslim. His birth name was William. And I developed this theory a while ago that a person's name, which this is not my original thing, the fact that your name is given to whomever names you. However, it may come. It may come through them watching some soap operas or, a billboard or some kind of way that name is delivered. Now, so that idea does not originate with me. But where I come in is that when I'm doing readings, I have found that the name of the person and its meaning and the meaning of that name will show up in their reading somewhere. As in the traits of the associated with the meaning of that name will show up in a planetary dispersal or conversation within their birth chart. Okay? So that's the backdrop for this. So William means protector. It also means helmet. And a helmet is for protection. And my uncle, who would later on become Labib, original name William, was a protector. He was a protector, first of all, of his mother, you know, and second of all, of his family at large, you know. Um, so that's interesting. But if you shorten the name William, you get Will. Okay. Now, astrologically, your will is associated with your sun sign because the sun, you have three fire signs. You have Sagittarius, you have Leo, you have Aries. Now, Aries is cardinal, action. Leo is fixed, and Sagittarius is mutable, change. Well, the sun represents fire at its full potential, i.e., the will. The will, Leo, the sun, is partly associated with one's will. Okay? Security in one's self, will. Okay? And then from an astro-theological perspective, the character of Christ is associated with Leo. That's why you see, and I know this is just basic stuff for most of y'all. It's just basic. We're just gonna just recap for those who may don't know. Um, Christ is representative of the sun. That's why we see the solar disk behind the image, and we also see the heart exposed because in the physical body, Leo rules the heart. Okay. So within that one sign, we have those two individuals acting out the archetype. And key word, acting. The event was for actors. Okay. Now here's another thing about Leo. Leo is the sign that rules over performance. It's the primary sign. You know, we also can add Pisces in there. But Leo, stage performance, Leo. Leo. Now, here's another thing to throw into the mix. We are now in Aries season. Okay? So in astrology, we have something called dignities. All right? So the sun is dignified when it is in the sign of Aries, because Aries is when the sun rises. Now, what's today? The 28th. 8 days ago, what did we have? The vernal equinox. The sun rose, as in the sun crossed the vernal equinox, or the horizon line. Well, I should say it crossed the horizon line according to Western tropical astrology, signifying the start of spring. So, Christ is risen. So, what I'm wondering is if this was, while it was technically humiliating for Chris Rock, I'm like, oh, maybe Chris Rock he's just moved up a tier, you know, because all of this happens while, like I said, while the sun is exalted. Christ, okay? And then to add to that, you have yesterday, March 27th, the planet Mercury made its ingress into the sign of Aries. Now let's talk about Mercury. Mercury also is a motif of Christ energy because Mercury rules over communication. Okay? Mercury rules over short distance travel, vehicles, you know, the highways within our city, the roads, or as far as the travel along them. Mercury rules communication. Did I say that already? Either way, it's all good. So when Mercury, well, first let me make this point. Because Mercury rules over communication, it would then be associated with words, right? Now, what is the Christ figure referred to? as the word, the logos. So see, now we have evidence of Mercury also being a representative of Christ's energy, the word. So along with the sun being exalted yesterday, we have the word moving into the sign of Aries. Now, Aries is the natural home of Mars. Okay. So I tell my clients this, and this is a million ways to explain this, and this is just one. And some people would agree, disagree, whatever. But I've come to feel like planets, and other astrologers say this too, planets are like verbs. They act out something. Okay. Now, the sign that a planet is in is like an adverb. An adverb modifies a verb or describes the verb. The house can be like the direct object of a sentence. John is running fast inside the house. Running, the planet. Fast, the sign. Um, House, the house. Um, but when a planet verb goes to act somewhere, it still carries the energy of that sign that it represents. Okay? And it leaves the imprint in that sign. And so what I'm saying, Mars rules over weapons. It rules over weapons. Weapons that can cut and pierce. Okay? So that same overall energy of modification, yes, Lady Al War, that same energy of modifying through the lens of war, use your word, war, is held in Aries. So that when Mercury, which is an acting agent, goes into Aries, it now can be words of war. It can be words of leadership. It can be words of combativeness. It can be words of courage. It can go either, you know what I'm saying? It can be words of just flat out just boasting, you know? So last night's event was a great way to study astrology. Like when events happen, you want to know what the transits are because it'll give you a great way to study how these archetypes act out and act through us. And will show you how some people may be using the energy to arrange something. That is what ritual really means. The word ritual means an arrangement. And so when certain alignments happen, then certain entities or factions or whatever may may attempt to use that energy to usher in a reality, i.e., manifest something that they desire. And so uh, I think last night was a great example. Now, what was the overall goal of it? I could do nothing but speculate. But the astrology, the archetypal energy was pretty obvious. down to the names, you know, Christ, will, you know, um, on the stage, Leo, performing, you know, um, taking action. Now, here's the other side of this that may be part of the purpose. Behind all of this, wherever you are living, you are seeing things astronomically, the prices go through the roof, you know, go through the roof. Now, this little incident is gonna circle around in the online cycle, couple of days, maybe a week at best. Something else has to come and overtake it. Now, at the same time, we are experiencing unbelievable prices for goods and services. And let's just leave when we say, and we're talking about necessities, you know, necessities. And in the big grand scheme of things, what if this is just another something to just, what like the movie say, wag the dog? You know, this is, there's got to be something constantly going on that is, in the grand scheme of things, insignificant. So it's like we have, so it's like layers to this. It's like this is an opportunity to study archetypal energy, but then on another level, it's like it seems like it's another well-timed, orchestrated event to just keep the minutia of things flowing. Minutia as in feces. You know, it's two things. Two things are constantly being pushed: fear and just entertainment. Fear, entertainment. Those two um, signatures. You know, you're constantly in a state of fear. Then you're entertained for a second. Then you pull back over here. Fear, 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 fear. Then come over here and so it's like everything else in this reality. It's reduced to dualism. You know, you only got two places to go to get your hardware for your house: Lowe's and Home Depot. You know, um, you only got two major places to shop for all of your basic stuff around the house. Paper goods and maybe food, and Target or Walmart. You know, everything comes down to this dualism. So even as a sentient being, it's either you're entertained or you're in fear. You're entertained or you're in fear. Where is the room where I create, you know, my my structure of reality? Where is my critical thinking fit in? There's no room for that, Jamal. Got time for all that critical thinking. And then if you do that, then there's categories we have for that now that would deter you from utilizing that ability to think. We might call you a paranoid, might call you a conspiracy theorist, uh, fake news, you know, anything. If it does not go with the status quo. So uh, I just I think all this is interesting. This everything now is just it's a very interesting world, you know. And then the irony that while um, of Mercury is that, oh, here's the other thing, and I'll come back to the irony of, I know I talk about people's driving a lot, you know. Another way to really pay attention, when Mercury was at 0 degrees, it was I want to say around in the morning yesterday, and you can see. I watched people driving yesterday, and I mean, I'm always talking about people driving crazy, but I'm like, damn, you just didn't think people can keep going to a new level. Just, I mean, crazy, crazy. And whether you whether you think astrology is real or not, these energies are very real. Now, and if you just sit and watch, you'll see them again. Aries, war, aggression, um, courage that can spill over into just pure ego um, expression. And here's the thing: there's a great saying about the ego. It's that, and I can't remember where I heard this. It said, or read it. It said the ego is a great passenger, but it should never be the driver of the vehicle. It's a great passenger, but it should never be the driver. So with Mercury hitting or ingressing into uh, Aries yesterday, we literally see an increase, literally, of people's ego driving their vehicles. Ain't that crazy? You literally see the archetype acted out. 2,000-pound war machines. I watched a couple of guys were riding in a drop top Mustang, black Mustang. Another guy comes up and he has some people in there in his car. He's in a white Mustang Cobra. And that's the one with I think that's with the 5.0 liter engine. So, of course, he wants to go to war. Come on, race me. For him to even get up beside the black Mustang, he had to cut off about two people driving down the road just to get into the position to challenge somebody. Now here's Mercury, which rules over vehicles and short distance travel. Here we have Mercury is in Aries, again, sign of aggression, and we're seeing what happens when the ego overtakes the governor within us. And we see this dude, he's challenging, he's not getting no response. So he gets mad and peels off and cuts in front of about three other people as he goes tearing down the road looking for somebody to challenge. Now, last January, when Mars entered the sign of Taurus, you had that whole fiasco of the people supposedly running up into the Capitol building and the guy with the horns on. Like, I mean, that wasn't another dead giveaway, because Taurus, the bull with the horns, and he goes raging up into. So when Mars is in Taurus, Taurus is a very settled energy, okay? Um, Stubborn, not gonna move fast. So when Mars goes into Taurus, we now have a raging bull. Okay. To me, that was along with all of the so-called medical stuff going on. Now, the medical stuff at that time, people were given incentives. They were incentivized to not work. Okay. Because one of the other things about Mars is Mars wants to do something. Okay. Mars can be a great worker if it is put under the right tutelage, i.e., Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, gives it direction for all that fiery energy. But at that time, we people were being incentivized to stay at home. Okay. So that was to take away the positive aspect. What's up, Straight Panther? That was to subdue the positive aspect of Mars, which is your drive. Okay. We all need some drive because without drive, we dead, at least in this world, right? So that subdued that. Then, though, it elevated the less desirable aspect of the animal in us, which is again Mars, the animalistic side. You know, you show people running in, fighting over tissue paper, towels, and you know, so you see how this how the energy can be used and played with, and why it is so important to this science can be so important and so empowering for people to learn. Because you can see the archetypes being acted out. Okay. Okay. So you subdue the positive side of Mars, you elevate the negative side, which means the people are nothing but automatons. They're just getting switches turned on and off and not even knowing what's going on. Okay. We fast forward up to now, and that negative Martian side is really being activated because people's survival is more under a threat. And so now you see more of the pure animalistic and something beneath animal savagery coming out, you know, um, because the the people leave themselves as willing uh, vessels to be steered because they have the majority have no inclination towards self-government, which is sovereignty. None. None. So then, as as I was about to go into, Mars makes its ingress into Aries. We see this ramped up, okay? Which maybe last night was another part of the possibility is that last night was to ignite, because Mars is an igniting energy. It's kindling. It's what kindergarten really means. Kindergarten is Martian in nature because Mars starts the fire. Okay, it's a cardinal sign. It's action. Kindergarten, kinder from kindle means fire. You're going to start the fire in the little child, supposedly, theoretically, in kindergarten. Unfortunately, our system maybe is more of trying to put the fire out, but that's for another discussion. Um, so you ignite this fire by having this act of violence and assault, Mars, played out on the stage. Sun exalted in Aries, which carries the imprint of Mars. And you put this out, and how many millions of people watch this? And how will this sink down into their subconscious mind, to the to the animal brain? And then they just find themselves further amped by the energy of Mercury in Aries. arguments, disputes, car accidents, you know, sporadic driving. Now, what's interesting is that Mercury just came out of an area that is almost the antithesis of Aries. And it's funny about signs. You know, the zodiac is set up ultimately as a means of overcoming duality or the perception of duality. Behind the scenes in the zodiac, and zodiac means life. And in Hebrew, Eve means life. So the zodiac is Eve. The zodiac is a womb itself. And my estimate or my theory, part of my theory is that it is set up to allow for the remedying of duality. Even the sign that follow, each sign don't make sense to follow the other one. It don't make sense for Aries to follow Pisces. Pisces is, you know, Frankie Beverly and Mays, We Are One. That's Pisces. Because Pisces struggles to find boundaries. Okay? And then directly after the sign that's struggling to find a boundary is Aries. Look at the glyph. The glyph comes out and does this. It's making it obvious that I am me. I am not whatever the rest of that is not me. I am me, an individual. So you have uh, undifferentiated energy followed by definite I am something singular. Okay. So Mercury, when it's in Pisces, is not very it's debilitated. Going back, it's debilitated because Mercury rules two signs, Virgo and Gemini. So when it is in Pisces, it is in its detriment because it's away from its home. It's away from its base as far as it can be. So Mercury has been in Pisces confused. Some of you may have felt like over the past, I can't remember how long it was there, a couple of weeks or so, there's just like, you know there's something you want to do, but you can't quite put your finger on it, and you just don't feel like you just uh like you got direction. And so when Mercury's there, there can be a little frustration because Pisces is, from the most part, is right brain, and Mercury is primarily a left brain modality. Mercury is rational, you know, and so it's been in that space of it's more. Mercury is challenged to be more feeling when it's in Pisces, but then when it moves into Aries, all of a sudden a sword emerges. You know, a sword emerges. And this sword now comes out, and it's like the complete opposite of where it has been. Where it's like all of a sudden it's sharp. So although we saw that shit, although we saw that whatever last night, I think it was a fiasco staged. Um, this is a word to all of us, to the wise, to be extra vigilant about your patience. And I ain't talking at you, I'm talking to you and talking to me. You know, extra vigilant about your patience because we are living in very Piscean times where things are merging. You probably haven't very strong dreams right now. You're probably getting all types of downloads. So what that means, Pisces is undifferentiated energy. So when we see that image on the stage acted out, it is our fields are more permeable right now because of the collective energy. The collective energy is that of the collective unconscious. Things are just very fluid right now, very fluid. So, you know, I'm telling myself this at the same time because once you see things, it has made some type of imprint. So it's important to um not be subconsciously pulled into something that is attempting to cause a disruption in any semblance of harmony that you may have. The whole idea of advertising and putting out on Front Street your relationship is some bull to me in the first place. See? See, it makes a mockery of the institution of a relationship. Some stuff ain't for people to know. Everything, all this thing about I'm being open and I don't have no, see what's this is the real deal. This is an introduction into a communist society. Can we just keep it real? Because in that society, you have no privacy. So they put these celebrities out here who are, you see these I talked about this another time. You see these headlines, so and so opens up about, so and so reveals. Listen to the language. And because we're so driven by entertainment, we think and we just love knowing somebody's business. It's like, hell, you want to know about Will and Jada's issues because they are already entertainers. And we're geared to want to know all we can about our favorite entertainers because it's an extension of the entertainment. And the entertainment industry is dying. It's dying. So you got to have a movie produced in different ways than normal. Look, this is an extension of the reality shows. You got to have the reality show merge with the movie and it's all got to be, it's got to seem realer than it ever did before. Pisces is illusion. It's illusion. That's one of the energetic signatures of Pisces. Illusion, elusiveness, as in what you see may not necessarily be what it is. And so we use these people and put them out. Let me see. And Prince and oh shit. And Prince William just told the Caribbean island he support them to be republic. Word spells over our people again. Since when do we need? Yeah, exactly, exactly. He can't even free himself. Um. So yeah, and there's that William again, huh? um. So yeah, at the end of the day, personal sovereignty is always the the overall theme, the overall end goal, or part of the end goal. Sovereignty, self-governance. Uh, and so when we see these things, hey, we have to just be extra vigilant about understanding that whole thing about it being at this point the the theater of war being the mind, it is very real. We have walked full fledged into the mental plane as the theater of war, and it's a constant internal battle. You know, constant internal battle. So yeah, that's about all I got. I'm about done with my dishes, and I guess I will say this. This is on to something else. Well, nah, I just leave that. Y'all will see it when you see it. Got some things working on. Y'all will see it when you see it. But thank everybody for tuning in. As always, stay down till you get up. When you get up, stay down. And no, I am going to at least say this. I got a document that I did like 3 years ago, and I've updated it, and I updated it to where it was. I thought it was so monumental that I copyrighted it. Um, it's about manifestation. It's not tricks. It's not gimmicks, and it's available now on my website, 720astrology.com. 720astrology.com. You look on the page that says products, and you'll see this document. It's only $19.99. I ain't trying to bust your head. It's $19.99, but it is very, very thought provoking, and it is real. And so I guess I'll just go ahead and say I'm going to be in segments doing some teaching on that document, you know, to make it plain, as they say. We're going to make it plain. And this is the birth, has been birthed from 12 years of intense research, which includes living life, which includes experimentation. What's up, E? Which includes uh, scholarship, you know, and which is about empowerment. I'm going to say this. I did a reading for a lady, and she was telling me about this. There's a lot of people are transitioning out of traditional Christianity. There's this new wave of people, this new wave. And I think it's part of Pluto getting to the latter degrees of Capricorn. We're talking about institutions and Pluto tearing down. And I'm seeing people who are asking, well, where do I go? And the new game is some of the Christian pastors are slowly, for past few years, have been transitioning to being metaphysicians, which is they already knew they were already metaphysicians, but they're trying to merge it in to bring in more of those metaphysical principles while still hanging on to some of the traditional Christian values like tithing, okay, and referring to oneself as a prophet. So I told this lady, I said, if you go and read any of the holy books, you don't see any of the characters who we now base movements on ever refer to themselves as a prophet or and prophet. That's a one of them words. Ain't that wrong? You're a prophet. I'm a prophet. Anytime I speak the truth, This prophecy. Anytime you speak the truth, it's prophecy. The thing is, they're dealing with connotative linguistics, the way we receive the word. And they know that that word is received as in something that's unattainable to the average person. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say is, we don't see any of these primary characters who take on this persona of having to constantly tell the people they speak to that I'm above you. This goes for preachers and so called spiritual teachers. All the same game. All the same game. Let the people name you after you croak or whatever. Just do what you do. Just do what you do, and your works will show. Your fruit, the fruit that you bear, will determine the quality of your tree. And so I'm going to do my best to put my work forward and push myself to overcome. Because here's the deal. Let me say this. I've been reading for people and telling them, if you got Virgo in your chart, I say, okay, one of the words we associate with Virgo is perfect. Virgo wants to do things perfect, get all the details, cover, dot all the I's and cross all the T's because they want things perfect. And so that need for perfection connotatively can hamstring a person because they can get bogged down by trying to have too many details. I've been having to take some of my own medicine. Now, my son is not in Virgo, but everybody got Virgo in their chart. For me, Virgo is in the 10th house, my career. Okay. So my career is basically what I'm doing now. This is all part of my career. Okay. As an astrologer, as you know what I'm saying, a metaphysician, that's my career. I can get hamstrung by, so let me give you a peep into my chart. I'm gonna just explain this and then I'm gonna stop. When you look at a sign, you got to look at the Lord of the house too. Okay. That verb that I told you about that's going acting. So where is the Lord at, and how is he or she acting? Okay. How is he or she being modified? Because it's then going to have an effect on that sign that it rules. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. My Mercury is in Capricorn. So slow, methodical, careful, do the work, attitude about how I communicate and think. And then the Virgo energy that it rules is in my 10th house. So guess what? I have so many downloads that come, and I just don't say nothing because I don't have it all structured the way I really want to present it. Because it's too much fucking freestyling to go on. I think, you know, that's a ritual in itself. The ego ritual on the internet is, let's see how much time can I control of other people. So I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna keep repeating things over and over. I'm gonna keep getting on the camera, going live, and this and that. Oh, I got another download, and this and that, and it's an ego thing. Let me see how long I can control your attention and hold your attention. I don't like that, you know. So, but in the midst though, I still have to find a happy medium because I got things to contribute, and I can't always wait around for them to be so-called perfect. So this is where getting to my point. How I got to take my own medicine. I've been telling people because I use etymology in my readings. That's why you need to come and holler at me because they are different from They different. You all right? They off the chain. Um, so um look at both. That's right. Look at both. Um, where was I? Oh yeah, I've been telling people this about perfect. I take the etymology of the word perfect. Do you know it don't have nothing to do with what we think? If I say perfect, it means we think it means without blemish. We think it means no mistakes. Okay, I've done it. Perfect in etymologically means the root per, go ahead of. Fet means make. So you know what perfect is? Go ahead and make something. Go ahead and make something. That's perfect. And so here's the funny thing. Now we're going to come full circle back around to Aries, which is ruled by Mars. Aries is at a 150-degree angle to the sign of Virgo. All right. So that means they're at what's called a quincunx. That's a contentious angle because they can't see each other. A quincunx is worse than opposition. Opposition is going to be within the same modality. You're going to have opposites between, Aries and Libra. They're both action signs. So there's some type of action needs to occur. Uh, 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 Aquarius and Leo, they're both fixed, so they're opposing each other. But you just it's an easier balancing. When it's a quincunx, they in different modalities. Aries is action cardinal. Virgo is mutable. Virgo is earth. Aries is fire. You know, Aries is masculine. Virgo is it's all these things that just like oh shit. But through etymology, I found this angle to present how to overcome the angst of a quincunx. What does Aries want to do? Something. That's right. It wants to do something. It wants to take action. It wants to get going. Virgo wants perfection. But the true essence of the word means go ahead and make something. This is where Aries and Virgo have common ground to meet. Aries is saying, I'm ready to go. Virgo is just saying, well, come on and go, but I want you to prepare what you're doing for them. So it's about courage. Go ahead. If ain't nobody else going with you, go ahead. If ain't nobody else feeling it, go ahead. If ain't nobody else, you ain't got the big following, a crowd, and this, go ahead, do it anyway. So the same medicine I've been giving out, I gotta take it. Like, you know what, Jamal, everything ain't gotta be I's dotted and T's crossed, um, get it out there. So this little conversation this morning is part of it. It's impromptu. I wasn't planning on it, you know. Um, but yeah, that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. Go on over to 720astrology.com and eat. Go over there and eat. It's a lot of food over there. Go and eat. Thank y'all again. Stay down till you get up. When you get up, stay down. Peace.